Welcome back to the channel Rumble Right Dad, where I try to tell the truth to men, and today we are taking on the fight between Andrew Tate and Matt Walsh, centered around marriage and whether it's good for men or not. Watch this.
Giving her a diamond he can barely afford, begging a woman he's been paying for years to stay with him. Of course she said yes, you idiot. She's living in your fucking house.
Before we get going, I have been a therapist for 13 years, and I've worked with men coming out of prisons, coming out of addiction, and attempting to restart their lives. And I've witnessed firsthand how delicate the issue is of marriage, family relationships, and men's children, and whether they have access to those children or not. And today, we need to take a look at the theological debate of our time. Is marriage still good for men?
Great way to put the nail in marriage's coffin. Nobody gets married anymore because of women like her. Men are men, always have been and will be. He's allowed, she isn't. Telling men if they touch another girl at any point in their lives equals financial decimation is why nobody gets married anymore. I disagree. Loyalty and integrity are essential virtues for a man. If you make a vow before God, you keep it. Sneaking around with another woman while your wife is at home with your children is a violation of the promise you made to her and to God, and therefore unmanly and weak. I have 4 sons and raised them to always keep the promises. Never make a promise you don't intend to keep. This is fundamental.
The reason I called it a theological debate is because this Matt Walsh versus Andrew Tate format is really based on the Catholic worldview, or maybe a traditional Christian worldview, versus a Muslim sort of domineering worldview that has overtaken so much of the red pill movement. So, and Andrew Tate being one of the foremost leaders of that, has a lot to say on it. Here's a little snippet of that.
Savings, putting her in a dress and giving all her friends a fucking great time and promising that he's going to stick by her no matter what, while she stands there as the princess going, great, I've got a husband. And the second she's unhappy, the very first second she's unhappy, what does she do? Leave.
Matt Walsh retorts as only he can and states a little bit more of the bona fides that would come with a more traditional, masculine, Christian worldview about what it looks like to honor the institution of marriage and that covenantal relationship. Watch this.
I must acknowledge then the same thing here. The setup which Andrew Tate describes and promotes, where men have children by many different women, has lots of historical precedent. It does. This is the way that primitive societies have operated for thousands of years. And today, this strategy, if we can call it that, is very popular in certain communities in this country.
In his book, Get Married, Brad Wilcox presents a little bit different argument about whether marriage still has value for men or not. He says that married men in their 50s have 30 times the wealth of a never married man. And everybody's going to come at me and say, well, that's selection bias because married men are more likely to be successful even prior to marriage. But the statistics wouldn't give a 30 times statistical difference if it were just a nominal selection bias, more than likely. They are also 20% more likely than single men to describe themselves as very happy and report lower rates of loneliness and depression. And again, people will say that that's selection bias. Men who are likely to get married are more likely to be happy in the first place. Well, what does that tell you about their premise for marriage and what that institution might actually mean to the thriving of men in society? Tate is really taking a risk-averse mindset when it comes to his commitments here, because he's ultimately looking at his ability to generate wealth as the paramount good and the best possible way that he can make meaning out of his life, whereas Matt Walsh is looking at that covenantal relationship, marriage, as a reflection of God's relationship to his church. And so choose your gods wisely. The results are going to be holistically different if the God that you're worshiping is your own ambition versus a fundamental good for eternity that can come from raising a family. And God only knows what Matt Walsh's children's children could do in the world, because they've had a father in the home, and we all know the statistical anomaly, and it's not an anomaly, the statistical fallout that happens. Children who are raised without a father in the home are more likely to go to prison than graduate college. And those 20 kids or whatever Tate has are ultimately a great many of them growing up without him. And that's just not good for kids. And it's certainly not good for the fathers who bear them.
I like to have fun, 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 fun.
So ultimately, just no matter which man you trust, be careful which God you choose, because the outcome, you will get what you deserve. If you try to plant seeds in order just to spread your progeny, you might be careful what you reap. And quite frankly, I'm not really sure how Andrew Tate has managed not to split his wealth 20 times, even having never been married, because women can certainly make you pay child support whether you've been married or not, bro. So if you're just going to spread them, then I guess you're still going to have your money split 20 ways. So that's idiotic. I don't know. That's all I can say. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and choose your fighter wisely.